even more. I found it really nice to get clarity on her views, and I really like her honesty, because I find that I disagree with some things she said, or I even dislike aspects of things that she says. But what I do appreciate is that I don't think she obscures anything, and I don't think that she claims to have any ideologies she doesn't. So I just like that. I just like knowing where I stand with someone, or knowing where someone stands on different things. And I've not heard her speaking about the variety of things she spoke about, so that was nice. And it was, yes, I did like hearing Louise Perry have holes poked in some of her ideas. I can't lie, I did like that. But yeah, a few things that I put little pins in was at about 45 minutes, they mentioned the Mate campaign, which if you're in the UK, you probably know about. And I'll put a little link to more about it underneath. But it got me thinking about, well, there's two parts. So part one is, I have been in the past very, very skeptical and quite like irritable about campaigns about public transport harassment. Like, there are posters that say things like, if you touch someone on the bus on the arse, like, that's harassment. It's like, wow, yeah, that's really going to stop a guy from groping a woman on the train. But actually, a friend pointed out to me that the bigger point of these, and what they are effective at doing, is letting victims know that what happened to them was wrong, and that they can be more emboldened to report it. Because if you see the train company views what you experienced as harassment, you're more likely to report it to them, and hopefully something will be done. So I can actually see that, and I am now, yes, a lot less grumpy about these campaigns, because I do think that is good. I think that, yeah, emboldening victims is good. So if that's the actual effect of them, then yeah, that's great. There was also something they were talking about that I was thinking about, flirting on the tube or whatever, on like public transport. And part one is that, like, I do think that, yeah, trying to approach someone on public transport is very different to, say, a bar, like, where the setting and the social norms of a place is just different. But I suppose it isn't that bad, I guess. But also, when I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't think I would feel comfortable with a man trying to flirt with me on the tube. Like, even if I thought he was handsome or whatever, because, and I was trying to work out why. I was trying to work out why is it that even if I couldn't immediately tell any kind of, like, it was meant to be very genuinely nice and very genuinely lovely, why I'd feel uncomfortable. And it basically comes down to, like, yeah, it's the men who are awful. And it's that classic, and it's like, oh, not all men, but like, they ruin it for the nice men out there. And of course they ruin it for all women, because, yeah, in the utopia, it would be lovely to assume that if any man was flirting with me, he only had the kindest of intentions, and the very worst case scenario was that we'd go out on a proper date and we discover we have absolutely nothing in common. Or, whatever thing that just means it's not going to work and it's fine. But, like, a third of young women have been, like, very genuinely into a man and thought he's been very lovely, and have then been strangled by him in bed when it came to, like, hookups and stuff. And also sometimes when we reject some men in public, they become really angry and violent and threatening. So, and all of that can be concealed incredibly well by a apparently very genuine, kind-seeming person. And yeah, this is an unrelated addendum as well, but it's connected, because they talk about marriage and how Louise Perry wants more marriage. And that's all well and good, but again, it, like, traps women at home, and even in the best case scenario, women do all the child rearing. And the only solution for this is that men and their values overall need to radically shift. And it's complicated, because I probably agree that in the first bit of life, mum and baby probably shouldn't be apart much. But this means that fathers really need to take up housework and everything, like, after that part of life, much, much more, like, do significantly more childcare to redress that balance. And I think maybe workplaces, if there's a way for workplaces to radically shift that enables babies to come along. Like, a friend of mine was advised to set her career aims lower if she wants children, by women who call themselves feminists, because, and all I could think was, like, I know it's hard, but, like, what if the man in her life, what if the father of that child stepped up to give her time at work? What if work didn't penalise women who need maternity time? Like, I have a friend who works in the circus. What if there was a way that a child could come on tour safely? Like, yeah, the radical shifts that need to happen are so huge that when I point out these ideas of like, well, what if there was a way for a kid to come on tour safely? People go like, well, can that even happen? And the basic end point is that I cannot see any solution that helps mothers that doesn't involve the men stepping up significantly, because otherwise women do all the work still. Even if it's not the actual mother, it is often a female relative of hers doing all this work. And you know, like I also see a lot of people saying that men shouldn't work in nurseries due to the fact that, you know, some of them abuse children. And I agree with that we need to have like, well, you know, it's just basic safeguarding, isn't it? And statistics. But it's the whole issue of the fact that if no men do that job, then more women must. And again, that just funnels women into these sorts of caring roles that are vital and I do think are important, but it comes at the expense of women being in any other sector of society. And it's just the thing I keep thinking, particularly with looking at the sort of, you know, the 4B movement and how that is now coming over slightly more with young women in like the English speaking world. Obviously maybe stuff is happening in Europe that I just don't know about as well. But yeah, this thing of like women's role, like societal role, has dramatically shifted in the last 100 years. And that is fantastic and that is wonderful. But men's hasn't. And it is going to have to. And I think we are fast approaching the point where we are going to reach an impasse. And obviously it's looking like America's solution to this is to take away abortion rights, try and make divorce harder, etc., etc., and basically just try and force women back into the home in the way that we were 100 years ago. So what's the opposite? And again, I hate looking at what the right is doing and seeing what could be used by the left, because 90% of the time what they're doing is underhand and slimy and unethical and horrible. But if they're trying to take away women's rights, we need to surely, I don't know, again, like, and again, I don't want to take away men's rights. I don't think that is the solution, but it's like, what do we do about this? If men aren't going to change in order to enable us to have a free and liberated society, what's going to happen? And I don't know, lads. That went on a very wild tangent from where we started, which was Kathleen Stock on Maiden Mother Matriarch, Louise Perry's podcast. And I would recommend it. I liked it. And yeah, it's, I don't know. I think this is just, again, I was talking about that whole thing of like, I will happily work with or listen to people that I don't agree with on heaps of stuff. And yeah, Kathleen Stock is a prime example. I think she's really funny and really clever, and I could listen to her all day, even if I don't agree with her on everything. And I highly recommend listening to that, because it was, yes, I did get a certain amount of satisfaction at certain holes being poked in Louise Perry's thoughts. Thanks again for listening. Unedited. Sorry. Bye.